Welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading on Kristin Cavallari. Cavallari, I think I pronounced her name right. She's such a beautiful person. So I'm just going to go into directly into what I see for her for the remainder of 2018, 2019. For those of you that don't watch much cable, she is coming out with her show, so I just wanted to start off with that. She's coming out with Very Cavallari, and I believe her show premieres on July 8th at 10 p.m. I believe it's on Channel E, the E channel, entertainment channel, so be sure to check that out. So when I tune into her soul, immediately what I'm getting is that I see that she's a very strong person, very rough around the edges. And the reason that I say that is because I feel like her life hasn't, even though she may have grown up in kind of in front of the camera, so to speak, and she has reached fame to a certain extent. She still is very down to earth and very much herself. I don't feel like she, has let fame get to her. And there was a lot of struggles that I see, in her younger years. This would have been when she was, on the hills and just filming, that she would have had like falling out and learned many valuable life lessons with producers and people that were in control of her career, and just friendships that she would have had with some of the girls. I do see that a lot of these caused a lot of hurt for Kristin, but it also made her grow up and be very much wiser about her choices and her friendships, and knowing who has to be in her life and who she wants to be in her life, for the remainder of her time. Um, this has kind of molded her into exactly, the person that she is now. I do feel like she does have a guard. I do see like a guard up around her soul when I tune in. So it's like she will let certain people in to her circle, but then there's certain people that are on the outside who she's like, is very friendly with them, and she's not putting a facade. She just doesn't allow them to go into her inner circle and reveal certain things about her, because I do get that, and I do see that early on in her career, she would have faced a lot of betrayal, a lot of rumors, gossip, and backstabbing from, her friends or people that she called her friends, and they basically sold her out. And, I get a point, after the hills, after that show, she would have said to herself, I really don't know if I want to be in acting or be in the TV world, the reality TV kind of world again. And so I feel like she was going through a creative process and kind of finding herself and finding her love and passion for fashion and for, clothing. And so she would have, decided, it was almost like an epiphany that she wanted to do that. And that's what I think is so unique about her, is that she still is very relevant, and she was able to still have some time to get married, have children, and tackle on the aspect of living out a normal life. Not that she's not normal or not living a normal life as a celebrity, but she actually got to experience motherhood, which is a very big privilege for her. And I think that's something that she always knew, that she wanted to be a mom. So I see that the motherhood has actually changed Kristin in many, many ways, and it's made her become a lot more connected to people, not just, her children and her husband, but to people in general, and able to really, nurture those friendships that she has now, and really, kind of let them blossom and grow. But I also feel like, and I do see that in her soul, that deep down, there are some friendships that still are kind of like hurtful, even though they've parted ways, or they, see each other and say hi once in a while. She doesn't, necessarily connect with them personally. It's been a while, and I feel like she's grown, and she's this bigger person. And what I see is that she's made attempts, to possibly reach out to these people and make amends. Not that she had anything to, to make amends for, but, just to be the bigger person and kind of clear out. I feel like when it comes to her conscience, she's not the type of person who wants to hold on to a lot of baggage and regrets. She doesn't want to live her life with regrets. And so I feel like she has come to an epiphany, so to speak, and a spiritual awakening within herself and her soul, where she would actually, try to make relationships better and friendships much better. At the same time, when it comes to her businesswoman, being a businesswoman in the business, in the fashion world, in the entertainment world, I do get that she's very much outspoken, and she is not afraid to let somebody know that they're wrong, and that's not her vision. And I feel like this is I see that this is a good thing for her. She needs to continue to keep doing that, because so many celebrities, I feel like they get, into this world, and they let producers and people, their friends and other people, just have their input and change them, or make them, tell them that they this is good for them, or this choice is good for them, and they just go with it, because you know that's tends to be the popular response. But with Kristin, I get that she's much more different. I feel like this is something that we're going to get to see on the show with her, see a glimpse into her life much more, of how she interacts with people, and she keeps it real. So I don't feel like the show, even though it is a show, most people would think the show is very scripted. While that may be true, and there may be scripts, that they have to read and whatnot, I feel like what we're going to see is the real Kristin Cavallari, the person who is the businesswoman, the mom, everything like that. I get that, she's very, she likes things done her way. Everything in her house is very neat. I'm seeing visions of everything being pristine, clean, just neat, arranged. I feel like she does have like a, what is that called? Almost like a, not an obsessive compulsive disorder, but she's a perfectionist. That's the word I'm looking for. And so she tries to bring perfection to every single thing that she's working in. I also get that with this show that she is now going to be starring in, and that has been produced. I get like she would have had some, some doubts whether or not, she wanted to do this. But I think the time is right, and, everything astrologically has aligned for her to have this return to TV, and and have that spotlight back on her. But there's always a price to pay when you are in the spotlight. So I get that, whereas she would have, been more those last couple of years, still photographed by the paparazzi, she still was in the media, but not as present as she is now. There's going to be a lot of criticism, a lot of different, cynical people, wanting to give their negativity towards Kristin. So she's going to have to find a very spiritual place once the show starts airing, to really center herself and not be so focused on the tabloids and, the comments that she's going to receive. I think a lot of people are going to, turn to her social medias and really, give their opinions about her show. And I don't see that Kristin is a person who would, really, she cares about her fans and the people that support her, but she's not going to really give into negativity. But when you're human, we're all human. We sometimes do give into, like, you're curious about what people are saying, and so you may just take a sneak peek and go into your Instagram or to your Twitter, and I feel like this is something that she may actually be doing when the show launches. It's just something, I know people listening to this may say, oh, well, you're being very general about that. Anybody does that, or most people do that. While that is the case, there's a lot of celebrities that really don't want to do that, because they know that's a lot of negativity that comes from that. So for her, the best thing is just to stay isolated away from that, and not be centered on that as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get into the next slide. This is her husband, Jay Cutler, and they've been married for quite some time. When I get into their energy, it's very, very different. With Jay, I feel like he doesn't like too much to be in the spotlight and the media, and I feel like him being on the show, we're going to see him maybe having discussions with her. I feel like these two are actually like twin flames. I don't get that they're soulmates, and I know that's very, very, some people listening to this, or people who would be in Hollywood who are their friends maybe listening to this, may say, that's not that's not true. They're soulmates because they're together, but I just don't get that. I feel like they're more like twin flames. They have a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences too. And I think and I also see that with Jay, he is, very kind of, he likes his own privacy. He doesn't like paparazzi. He doesn't like a lot of that, the spotlight on him. He kind of, there were some discussions I'm hearing from my spirit guides between Kristin and Jay about the show, and perhaps like he didn't want to really be on it all the time. So if he's not on it all the time and every single episode, this would be a reason why. But I do get that he does love her and she does love him. Obviously, they have children together. I do get though that the marriage is and this is something that people may not agree with, but this is just what I'm getting from a psychic perspective, is that their marriage is kind of hitting a bumpy patch. And I think things are going to be very interesting within the next year and a half with their marriage. While they do get along and, they do try to work through their personal life and their personal issues, I just get that there would be some disagreements, disagreements that they have between each other and arguments. And I feel like at some point, Kristin may, feel kind of like when he's away, working, uh, the distance is good for them, but at the same time, she does miss him. And when it comes to fidelity, I do feel like he's a very loyal person, but there are circumstances surrounding him, and I feel like these are more like habits, and that's what I will, leave it to. That are not so healthy that maybe he has adopted, and can take a toll on the marriage itself and put strain on it. Kristin, I don't see that she has these habits, unhealthy habits, but I do get with Jay that there may be some unhealthy habits that need to be addressed, by him. And it may be something that, that Kristin has had conversations with him before, and that how it could affect the children. I also get something with his health, connected with health, but I'm not a doctor and I can't diagnose, so this is by no means a diagnosis. It's only what I'm getting intuitively. But I do get something with his immune system and his actual mental health, and also with his bones. I don't know if his family has had prone to arthritis, or any kind of spinal issues, but I get with him that there would be something along those lines that hits like the neurological system. And so I also get that he also needs to take better care of himself. I feel like his body is not the way it used to be, and so he is at an age right now where things are changing for him, and that he would be feeling a lot of pain. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to a chiropractor a lot, and also like physical therapy would be needed later down the road. But I do get, he needs to take better care of his self, even though he is, a very uh, charming man and he's very healthy. People would look at him and say healthy. I see something a little bit different from a spiritual perspective. So this would be something that he would need to really pay attention on and really focus on improving his health and making sure he's getting enough sleep, and rest, for himself, and kind of wean off of those unhealthy habits that I'm picking up on, that that could be contributing later on to issues in other areas of their life. I do get with the show that they're having that there are going to. Well, let me back up on their marriage. It's very possible that they eventually will, reach a point where they separate. So I do see a separation. Again, this is not something, it can be avoided due to their free will and them coming together and working together on certain things. But I do feel like there would be, within the next 3 to 4 years, there could possibly be a separation anywhere between now and 3 to 4 years from now, with them. And Kristin would not marry again for a while, until a long period of time, but she would be with another person. That is what I'm being presented by Spirit. Again, this is just my interpretation. But again, their marriage, it is, I'm getting that there are some strains on it right now currently. So just something again that she would need to just watch for. Okay, so going back to what I was saying with the show itself, I do feel like it will be a hit. It will have the success that that I guess the network is wanting for her to have. But I also get that it may not have the exact same ratings as the other shows that are on the network. And so, if it only lasts one season or two seasons, whatever the network decides, whatever their agreement is, regardless, it is going to be something that gets her back into the spotlight, gets her, more opportunities and buzz created around her brand and her name and her business. I do get that she will also possibly go back into acting, more like movie roles. I do see that, and I hear that there would be some kind of movie roles that maybe offers that are coming, now after this show airs, or already had people have already approached her. But she is very much mommy, to her children, and I feel like she's going to have to really, balance everything out, and she really wants her career to, kind of take off again and pick up. She's going to have to make a decision, to go back into that and put that level of work ethic in there, or to just focus on her brand and being a mom. But I feel like she will go back into acting apart from the show, this reality show that she's doing. So, yeah, this is what I'm getting for Kristin and Jay. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you did like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And if you'd like to set up a private reading with me, you can go to my website. That's www.raymondguzman.net/shop. Blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day.